So this place is actually my husband's brainchild. He quit his job, he came back to Coorg, started this restaurant where the locals can come.
Hits the spot should you find yourself here on a monsoony Gonikoppal evening. The baimbale, it's combined rather well with the slightly fatty juices of that mutton Kheema. The flavor of this chicken curry is also the sort that you'll perhaps find in a home out here in Gonikoppal. Lush and creamy. Now for some of that mango. Namaskara folks, this is Kripal, Amanna, Gourmet on the Road, and you're watching Food Lovers TV. We are in Coorg. To be more precise, we are here in Gonikoppal. In Gonikoppal town, the road here leads to Hunsur, and if you were to drive straight down, you would hit Virajpet and then find your way in Kerala. So we are here in Coorg for a couple of days, filming some of the interesting eating spots in and around the area. So when I was looking for a place to stay here in Gonikoppal, I heard of this hotel called the Coorg, and what was interesting here was the fact that they have a restaurant called the Spice Rack. Now the Spice Rack is not really a restaurant about kodava cuisine, but more about multi-cuisine. I guess the locals have their fill of kodava food anyway, and the travelers on this route, I guess every once in a while also want to eat something which is perhaps a little more familiar. So we checked into this hotel in the afternoon, actually late afternoon, after a rather indulgent lunch comprising mostly of kodava delicacies. So therefore, I'm looking forward to tasting something a little different. This looks interesting. Some homemade wines here. Hello, namaskara.
Hello sir, namaste. Such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing well sir, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So this place is actually my husband's brainchild. Growing up in Ooty and Bangalore, every time he came home, he realized that we don't have a place that we can take families out for dinners, to celebrate occasions, or to just for a break, right, from your routine. So that's how this idea came up. So he quit his job, he's an engineer. My husband's name is Ponnana PS.
And I'm with Arpita Mutanna, his wife.
Hello. He quit his job, he came back to Coorg, started this restaurant where the locals can come with their family, have a meal. So that was the whole idea. Been here since 2016. 2016. So it's our 9th year. Yes.
So it's nice. How's it going?
It's going good. I mean, all the challenges on the way, right? Demonetization, cool grains, floods, and then COVID.
All right.
So there have been ups and downs, but I think we have managed to, pass that, and we are here today.
So what's the food here like?
So we have continental, tandoor, Chinese, North Indian. At the same time, we have tourists also we are catering to. So we do have local cuisine. So the idea here was initially set up for the locals. When we set it up, we also want the tourists to come and have a meal. So if you're coming as a tourist, you want to try the Coorg cuisine, we have that as well.
All right. And I guess sometimes as a tourist, you probably also have enough of the cuisine of the land. So you want perhaps sometimes flavors that you're just familiar with.
Correct.
Namaste.
So this is our head chef.
How are you? What's your name?
Anil Singrana.
Anil Singrana. कहाँ से हो आप? आपका स्पेशलिटी क्या है शेफ? इंडियन तंदूर. तो तंदूर जरूर ट्राई करेंगे. हाँ. हेलो. क्या नाम है आपका?
That's our menu, sir.
So it's a combination of various things. I can
Yes.
see there's some soups, Chinese, Indian. You got some tandoori.
We also have our kurgi, akki roti, noolputtu, all of that.
Like bamboo shoot with Kheema.
Yeah, that's our monsoon specialties, sir. Bamboo shoot.
Bamboo shoot.
Yeah, so we have bamboo
Baimbale.
shoot curry, baimbale, as is baimbale, or we have baimbale with Kheema, mutton
And
Kheema.
mutton Kheema.
Yeah, and that goes with akki roti.
Fantastic. So I think that malai tikka sounds nice. I will definitely try the baimbale
With akki roti.
with akki roti, I guess.
Yeah.
Akki otti, no?
Akki roti.
That's what I've been told. It's not roti here in Coorg.
Otti
It's
for us.
otti.
Yeah.
Otti. Style chicken curry with noolputtu.
Noolputtu, you want to try?
Is it good?
It is, yeah, very good.
Yeah? Okay, fine. We'll try that.
Okay.
I think that should be it.
Sure.
That'll be
The ice cream?
We have homemade ice cream.
homemade ice cream.
Yeah, that-
Avocado and mango.
Ah,
Today
that
we
sounds
have
interesting.
avocado.
And mango.
Yes.
Then we leave some space for ice
Yeah,
cream.
sure.
Well, I can certainly smell the effusiveness of the garlic. The malai tikka is all right. Definitely tasting a lot of the garlic. The chicken though has a bit of a bite. Seems like the sort that's been sitting in that marinade for a while. With the mint chutney, I think it works well. Thank you. Sometimes in places which are multi-cuisine, it's best to go with things that are more popular, and therefore I've ordered the chicken Manchurian, although the dragon chicken too came recommended. The flavor certainly hit home on this. This is what you would expect to find in a chicken Manchurian. You got loads of spring onions on top. You got the chili garlic hits the spot should you find yourself here on a monsoony Gonikoppal evening. Certainly more impressionable than the malai tikka that I just tasted. And I don't even remember the last time I tried a Manchurian. This is a very typical Desi Chinese with loads of sauce, and that's what we like, right? So in fact, because I've had an overload of kodava dishes for lunch, this chicken Manchurian doused in all that sauce, the chili, garlic, soy, ketchup, spring onion, etc. It's also serving to reset my palate. Akki otti. Ah, that's the baimbale Kheema. So this is like a local dish. Koli curry. Noolputtu. Well, we've quickly switched tracks from the multi-cuisine side of things here, from that chicken malai tikka to the chicken Manchurian to something that certainly looks a lot more appealing even as it found its way to the table. So what I have here is a baimbale Kheema. So the baimbale is a fresh bamboo and it's in season just this point in time. I think that's an interesting thing about the produce here. Most of it is very seasonal and it depends on what's available, and I think that's a great way of cooking things. And then we also have a chicken curry here. The combination for the baimbale is the akki otti, and for the chicken curry I'm told is the noolputtu. And since it's a multi-cuisine restaurant, we also have some kadai mutton. I told the manager, I said, whatever your chef thinks I should eat in the mutton, ask him to serve me, and that's what he's prepared. So it's a kadai mutton. I suspect this is a gravy that makes generous use of a cashew paste and perhaps some dairy too, which speaks for its richness. But I think I'm going to make a start with the baimbale and the Kheema. Well, that's the akki otti. I think I'm going to taste that baimbale first just by itself. The baimbale has an austere crunch, but then it's combined rather well with the slightly fatty juices of that mutton keema. A good mutton keema has to have a bit of fat, the rogan, and that's what you also see floating in little rivulets atop that baimbale keema, and I think that's what I think we are building up here. The malai kebab I wasn't a fan of. The Manchurian, well, checked the right boxes when it came to Desi Chinese fare. But this one is certainly interesting. Much as we tried to say we will not order local food, well, it turns out that the dishes that seem to hit home are those that are consumed in homes in and around this area. There's also a bit of heat that I'm tasting from some of the red chilies that probably go into this preparation. This I certainly like. I like the austere crunch of that tender bamboo shoot. Some of the hard spices too that have gone in to flavor this keema. I'm also tasting the sweetness perhaps of either some fennel or some cinnamon that must have gone into the oil right at the beginning to flavor this keema. What's also nice is that the keema is not ground too fine. it's got a bit of coarseness, and that coarseness helps in that mince latching on to the flavors of that masala. So I think this is one of those dishes which is like a crossover dish. The baimbale is of course a specialty in Kodagu, but I think because out here the repertoire also includes a sizable North Indian component, that Kheema has teamed up with the baimbale to serve up something quite memorable, in fact. Very good. And I think on that note, you should probably head to the chicken curry. Busy there. That seems to be a rather rich, when I say rich, not in the North Indian kaju and dairy rich, but rich in the flavors of the coconut and also the onions. You know, the challenge in multi-cuisine restaurants like this is to try and figure out dishes that hit home. And so sometimes it's a process of trial and error. I'm happy that the last two preparations that we've tasted are certainly the sort that are noteworthy. The noolputtu is also very fragile in its texture. These thin strands do well to greedily soak up that gravy. I think I need some more gravy to drown my noolputtu in. So if you find yourself here, move directly to that chicken curry and baimbale Kheema. The flavor of this chicken curry is also the sort that you will perhaps find in a home out here in Gonikoppal. So it's quite bold in its punchy flavors, yet the sort where the ingredients seem measured by a prudent homemaker. Mutton kadai. So this is a typical, what we would call a generic North Indian sort of a gravy. The onions of course, but also the cashew paste that helps enrich the dish. Let's go directly to that mutton. The meat's soft, has a bit of a bite. I feel it doesn't latch on to the flavors of the masala like the previous two dishes did. I think this meat is cooked separately. When you go to restaurants, there are two kinds of dishes that you will find. Dishes that are built from the ground up, like this chicken curry out here, or perhaps even this baimbale Kheema, where all the spices, all the ingredients, protein cook from the start to the finish. And then you have dishes like the Hyderabadi mutton, which are basically creations of chefs where they will cook the protein separately, season it of course and cook it, and then combine it with whatever gravy to create that dish. So while it's tasty, but somewhere the meat perhaps then doesn't imbibe all the flavors that are present in that masala. But I'm just nitpicking now, and perhaps only because I've been spoiled by the last two dishes that arrived on my table. So much so that I think that baimbale Kheema would also be rather happy to be scooped into the folds of this roti. Also a dish that works so beautifully in the texture department. The mince is nice and soft, a little grainy, and then you have that crunch of the baimbale, the tender bamboo. Which one should I begin with? The mango or the avocado? I think probably the avocado. This is a homemade ice cream, so I don't expect it to be frozen rock solid. Lush and creamy, perhaps a tad rich in the sweetness too, but I can understand why it's popular. There's also a slight hint of bitterness from the avocado. And that's where that garnish of some raisin comes handy, just to lend the avocado a bit of its sweetness to offset the bitterness. Now for some of that mango with some almonds. Feels very homely. Also in the slight bite of the icicles that you find in that homemade mango ice cream. Restaurants like these fit a context. If you find yourself in the area, you want to eat something tasty. You also want a space that lets you be. You want restrooms that are clean. You want service that is attentive and prompt. Well, that's the sort of slot that the spice rack fits right into. So if you find yourself in and around Gonikoppal, want a place where you can just go and relax, and also want to savor some tasty fare, But mind you, that might require a bit of work in terms of finding out what's interesting for the day. As we discovered this evening, this was my first visit here. The first two dishes were fine, but it was the third and the fourth dishes that hit the spot. And last but not the least, the ice cream stone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay strong, and happy eating. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page, and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As, and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment below. Happy eating!